So we do pieces at a time. We've done Oracle to Stone. Now we're just about done with Stone to Park Avenue. They're finishing up with utility work there, 25 miles per hour. And the biggest change in this project is going to be what is called indirect left turns. For those of you that are new, you go past, if you want to make a left turn, past the intersection, U-turn, come back to the intersection and take a right. That is an indirect left. We have two new ones, one at Stone and one at First. That's the latest from our First Warning Traffic Center.
Listen to this. A woman in Marana says her daughter's Kia Sorento burst into flames.
Yeah, as 9 on your side's Carlos Herrera reports, the woman says the company isn't taking responsibility for what happened.
My granddaughters were crying. My daughter had this fear. The smell was just god awful. The fire department was still there. The police were there. When I got there, my granddaughters came up and hugged me and just cried because they were so sad about what had happened to them. They were so freaked out and just scared.
That's how Tina Chavez describes one of the scariest moments in her life. In September last year, her daughter and her boyfriend were driving their 3 kids to daycare. They were taking the Prince Road exit on I-10 when her 2012 Kia Sorento suddenly turned off.
She heard a loud pop, and her car was almost instantaneously engulfed in flames.
Chavez says luckily everyone was able to get out safely, but she says Kia has not accepted responsibility for the incident. Her family hasn't heard from them since November.
They just said that at that time that there was nothing that they were going to be able to do for them.
Hundreds of Kia drivers around the country have filed similar reports with the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration. 2 Kia models stand out: the 2012 to 2014 Optimas and Sorrentos, which were already under an engine defect recall.
Within 7 days of replacing the engine, the car caught on fire.
Now Chavez says her daughter is out thousands of dollars, and many attorneys don't want to get involved with big corporations. She simply wants Kia to take full responsibility.
Just help her get in a vehicle. We would just make the payments on it. They wouldn't even be willing to do that. I mean, she just needs a vehicle to drive in.
I'm Carlos Herrera, KGUN 9, on your side.
Well, Carlos spoke with a Kia representative about this specific incident, but we haven't received a response back. Now, in the past, Kia released this statement to our Tampa sister station saying, quote, Kia Motors America works directly with customers and will provide inspection results directly to those customers. If it is determined that a fire is the result of a manufacturing-related issue, KMA will work with customers to address any costs or expenses they may incur.
Okay, let's get to a health alert for you now at 4:50. More than 1,000 businesses across the country are getting letters from the Food and Drug Administration warning to stop selling e-cigarettes to minors. It's part of the largest enforcement effort in agency history to crack down on what the FDA calls an epidemic. Emily Schmidt has more on that.
When it comes to e-cigarettes and youth, there's no smoke, but there is a growing firestorm.
It's really addictive.
The most recent National Youth Tobacco Survey finds 1 in 5 high school students uses tobacco, and by far, the most common method is with e-cigarettes. 2.1 million middle and high school users. The FDA has warned against the products for kids in social media campaigns.
Vaping can deliver nicotine to your brain, reprogramming you to crave more and more. Don't get hacked.
Wednesday, the agency magnified its message, sending 5 major e-cigarette manufacturers and more than 1,100 businesses warning letters, and in some cases fines for selling to minors. Also warning about labeling and flavoring to attract or target kids, like e-liquid on the left, similar to candy on the right, all in an easy-to-hide size.
Which is why I'm sure teens like it, because in school they're just kind of everywhere. They could easily take a hit when no one's looking.
Earlier this year, the FDA asked manufacturer Juul Labs to submit documents to understand why their products are so popular with youth. Juul Labs says in a statement Wednesday appropriate flavors help adult smokers switch, while adding it will work with the FDA to keep e-cigarettes out of the hands of young people. The FDA gives Juul and other manufacturers 60 days to share plans to reduce youth sales or face possible criminal or civil action. In Washington, I'm Emily Schmidt reporting.
Kind of exciting news. It really is a whole new concept for sports in the old Pueblo, indoor football.
Right, we're going to meet the first head coach for the league and hear what he has to say about the upcoming season. 52 minutes past the hour. You're watching Good Morning Tucson. Well, Well, this morning we're going to meet Marcus Coleman. He's actually the first head coach of Tucson's indoor football league team.
Yeah, he's won in the IFL before, and he's won once in Tucson as well. Here's KGUN 9's Jason Barr with more.
Well, we didn't beat him. That's why I hired him. And I don't lose many games.
If you can't beat him, hire him. That's Tucson owner and Arizona Rattlers coach Kevin Guy explaining why Marcus Coleman is the first head coach for Tucson's expansion team in the indoor football league.
You know, being number one is always special because you always put your stamp on it. Now, it has to be a good stamp, but you know, at least you get the opportunity to come in, start with a clean slate, and kind of get it going in the right direction.
Coleman spent 11 seasons as an NFL defensive back. Most recently, he was the defensive coordinator of the Iowa Barnstormers, who won this past season's United Bowl.
I watched him all last year, watched his demeanor, how he led his players, and he built a very physical defense, and he does a great job recruiting, so I thought he was a great fit for Tucson.
This isn't Marcus Coleman's first time with an expansion team. He was selected by the 2002 NFL's Houston Texans.
I need to make sure where we're practicing is going to be placed, all the equipment, everything like that. So everything so all the players have to do is show up and do their job is in place. And we had to go through that, in Houston, and the Texans did a good job of laying that foundation.
Coleman will now try to win in Tucson, something he actually did once before as a member of Texas Tech in a 1995 Copper Bowl victory over Air Force.
That was Jason Barr reporting. Well, if you're looking for something fun to do this weekend, why not raise some money for pets in need?
More details on the event for the Humane Society of Southern Arizona after the break. Stay with us. President Trump says the government is ready for Hurricane Florence. He's warning those in the storm zone to evacuate to a safe place.
As Janae Norman reports, he's also trading insults with the mayor of San Juan as he faces backlash over his assessment of how his administration responded to last year's Hurricane Maria.
F-22s hitting the sky. Apache helicopters being relocated. It's all part of how the federal government is preparing ahead of Hurricane Florence.
First responders, law enforcement, and FEMA, and they're all ready.
President Trump with this warning.
Get out of its way. Don't play games with it. It's a big one. It's called Mother Nature. You never know, but we know.
As the president stands ready to face whatever Hurricane Florence brings, he's still facing backlash for touting his handling of devastating Hurricane Maria, insisting his administration did an unappreciated great job in Puerto Rico and calling the mayor totally incompetent.
Puerto Rico was an incredible, unsung success.
Maria killed nearly 3,000 people, making it one of the deadliest hurricanes in modern American history. And there's growing controversy surrounding the response. Images of hundreds of pallets of water left to rot in the island's sun going viral. That water, purchased by FEMA, never made it to hurricane victims. The mayor of San Juan telling ABC News he never got it. He never will.
Oops, he did it again. Here he goes again. He doesn't understand that this isn't about him and about his ego.
Between South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia, more than 6,000 National Guardsmen have been activated ahead of Hurricane Florence. More are on standby, and Coast Guard search and rescue helicopters have been moved to Savannah, Georgia, in preparation. Janae Norman, ABC News, Washington.
A shooting spree in California has left 5 people dead. What authorities are learning this morning about the crime spree across 3 different areas.
And Tropical Storm Olivia is in Hawaii. How many inches of rain is expected and how it's really affecting travel? April?
And it's been a while since we've seen those 90s. We'll talk about when they might finally return coming up. It's 5:11. You're watching KGUN 9 on your side.
Good to have you with us now at 5:14. Police in California are investigating a mass shooting. 6 people are dead after a shooting spree in Bakersfield, California. Authorities say a gunman killed 5 people, including his wife. Then, as a sheriff's deputy closed in, the shooter turned the gun on himself. John Lawrence has the details.
Many questions remain after a shooting spree in Bakersfield, California.
We have 6 people dead, 5 victims and 1 suspect.
Kern County authorities say trouble started shortly after a man and his wife arrived at a trucking business. The suspect fatally shot a man at the business and then killed his wife. Sheriff Donnie Youngblood says another person came onto the scene and was chased and fatally shot by the gunman.
Suspect then left the area and went over on Breckenridge Road, where he went to a residence and confronted two more people, where he shot both of them.
After that, the man hijacked a car with a woman and child inside. They were able to escape. A deputy pulled over the suspect and confronted him.
And the suspect put the gun to his chest and killed himself.
Authorities are looking at multiple shooting scenes and interviewing dozens of witnesses.
I'm pretty comfortable there'll be a connection between all of these players.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
The New Hampshire Supreme Court will begin the appeal hearing for a former St. Paul's student convicted in 2015 of statutory rape. Owen Labrie pursued a 15-year-old girl as part of a competition apparently known as Senior Salute. That's when seniors, I guess, try to have sex with as many younger female students as possible. Those charges kicked off a criminal investigation into sexual misconduct at the prep school. The state attorney general is expected to announce those findings today. A video of now disgraced movie mogul Harvey Weinstein has surfaced. It apparently shows him hitting on a woman who later accused him of rape. Now, Sky News actually aired the video showing Weinstein making advances on Melissa Thompson in his office in 2011. During that recorded meeting, when she offers a handshake, he pushes her hand out of the way. It appears he then hugs her and runs his hands up and down her back. Weinstein's lawyer says the video just shows, quote, casual, if not awkward, flirting from both parties. Weinstein denies any wrongdoing.
Well, it's primary day in New York State. Most eyes are on the Democratic bid for governor. The incumbent, Governor Andrew Cuomo, is trying to fend off a challenge from actress and activist Cynthia Nixon. Most know her from her role on HBO's Sex and the City. Nixon has attacked the governor for failing to follow through on pledges to address corruption and for not fixing the city's subways. Cuomo has waged a formidable defense, touting accomplishments such as free public college tuition and a higher minimum wage. Voters will also be choosing their party nominees for Attorney General and several state legislative races.
Tropical storm Olivia has made landfall in Hawaii. Olivia first hit land in Maui, bringing with it flooding and 45-mile-per-hour winds as it moved over the state's main islands. The storm lashed parts of Maui County, closing roads and causing thousands to lose power. Now, forecasters predicted Olivia could dump 5 to 10 inches of rain, with some places getting up to 15 inches. Hawaiian Airlines canceled flights by its commuter airline Ohana by Hawaiian. It and most other U.S. airlines serving Hawaii waive fees for customers looking to change their itineraries. Meanwhile, in California, a firefighter was injured while battling a vegetation fire in Kern County. You can see the video here. He was airlifted to a nearby hospital. Unknown his condition at this time. At last check, the water fire spread to 50 acres with 20% containment. A recommended evacuation in the area has been lifted as crews remain on scene.
Now, KGUN 9 on your side. First warning weather with meteorologist April Madison.
5:18. This is the way we started the day yesterday, likely how we're going to start it again today. But you may have remembered me saying that we're going to see a little bit of cloud cover, just a few wispy clouds kind of moving through. Much like yesterday, this is what we're expecting again today. This is the time lapse as of about 11 a.m. yesterday and then moving throughout the day. Didn't see a lot of it, but we could see just a few clouds here and there. Otherwise, staying mostly sunny for the next several days. Still dark out there, though. We're waiting for that sun to rise. Should start to do that in about an hour or so. But the clear skies and the dry conditions is the reason why temps are nice and cool overnight. 72 right now with winds out of the south at about 3 miles per hour. It is going to be nice today, but it is mostly going to be up on the mountain. If you're enjoying the cooler temps, that's where you're going to have to go. Otherwise, the valley will continue to warm up into the triple digits. About 6 to 8 degrees above average is what we're expecting over the next several days. That means 101 in Tucson again today, but Mount Lemmon 74, not much higher than where we are right now outside. side. Other highs today, again, it's not just Tucson, much of Pima County, much of southern Arizona seeing temps anywhere from 4 to 6 degrees above their average. That means a lot of 80s and 90s in Cochise County, same in Santa Cruz. Even Nogales going to hit 96 today. 92 though in Sierra Vista and Sonoita, and a lot of triple-digit heat in Pima County. 104 in Ajo today, 103 in Sells and 3 Points. And although I think we'll be right around 101 in Tucson today, we haven't even peaked yet. I think that will happen both Friday and Saturday. We're expecting our highs to really kind of jump, may go down a degree or two as we get into Sunday and Monday, but not really much change in our forecast until we get to the middle of next week. So again, I've been mentioning we're not necessarily done with monsoon yet. We're just not expecting much in the way of rain, at least not yet. Maybe by Wednesday of next week, we should start to see about a 20% chance for storms moving back into the forecast. How are the roads looking, Big Al?
April, we have a new wreck, and it's just a little south of where we travel a lot. Broadway Boulevard, one of the busier intersections in terms of traffic volume. Broadway just west of Colbert, Broadway and Chantilly. About 6200 East Broadway, right west of Wilmot, as a matter of fact, is where we have a brand new wreck. Here is the price of a gallon of gas, still holding steady at $2.48. Lots of supply. The demand is going to be shrinking now that much of the travel is over for the year for most of us until we get to Thanksgiving and Christmas. The 4 membership clubs have $2.48, and there are 3 others that have $2.48 a gallon. That's the latest from our First Warning Traffic Center.
Okay, Big Al, thank you. Let's get to a health alert now at 5:21. The FDA's leader says teen vaping is an epidemic and threatened to ban them if things don't change. That agency is launching a huge enforcement campaign and finding stores who sell to children. Scott Gottlieb, the FDA's commissioner, gave the biggest brands like Juul 60 days to submit a plan. That plan has to detail how it will cut sales to kids. If Gottlieb doesn't think those plans are enough, he says he'll look at banning products. He also said he understands e-cigarettes can help adults quit, but that the risk they pose to youth is paramount.
Ready for this? The holidays. They'll really be here before you even know it. Many stores will be hiring for the season. The major department store that's expected to need thousands of workers.
And later, good news for you, why many people are earning more money than in years past. It's 5:22. You're watching KGUN 9 on your side.
Some consumer news for you now at 5:25. Macy's is hiring 80,000 holiday workers. It's expecting another busy season. Macy's says it was so busy last year it hired 87,000 temp workers. It says this year temp workers can get bonuses if they meet certain goals. Now, of those 80,000 jobs, some focus on online orders, some on call centers, and some to work the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Macy's has a hiring event on October 18th.
All right, well, for the 3rd year in a row, the average American household saw their income rise last year. The Census Bureau is reporting that income rose 1.8% in 2017 to just more than $61,000. Latino families saw a larger gain. African American and Asian American families saw their wages stall. For the first time in 10 years, middle class income is now at pre-recession levels.
Well, reading is really one of the most important things for children to learn to do.
Right, and when we come back, we'll meet a Tucson woman whose passion for books is helping children across the area.
Plus, how the Tucson Metro Chamber hopes to help veterans and their spouses in the workforce. You're watching Good Morning Tucson.
Good Morning Tucson starts right now.
Now in GMT, the Tucson Metro Chamber is hoping to help veterans and their spouses in the workforce. The opportunity is coming to local veterans. Plus, the Sabino High School baseball team will not get a trophy back. We've got the latest developments in our investigation.
And here at KGUN 9, we're in the middle of our literacy campaign as we continue to raise money and books for local kids, how one author is inspiring others to read. Good morning to you, Tucson. I'm Whitney Clark.
And I'm Mark Charter. So good to have you with us this morning. 5:30, bottom of the hour. April's telling us it's a little bit cooler out there this morning. That's good news, right, April? Good morning.
It feels a little cooler.
Yeah, yesterday we were still at about 74 here on the east side. We've dipped to 71, and we were still at about 75, 76 at the airport, and we're at 72. And typically we see the sunrise and then we go down another degree or two. So that still stands the chance to go down another degree or two before it starts to go up. However, make no mistake, we are still expecting another very hot day. Dress cool. Make sure those kiddos have lots of water and sunscreen, mostly sunny. 101 is what they will feel for that ride. ride home. How's it looking over there, Big Al?
Hacienda del Sol, more work today, but they should be the last day of work. Southbound lanes getting paved there. The northbound's been done for a couple of days. They work from 6 to 6. They should wrap up today, barring any surprises on Hacienda del Sol. Campbell Avenue, a great alternative if you don't want to mess with the construction that's going on Hacienda. That's the latest from our First Warning Traffic Center.
The Tucson Metro Chamber is taking on a new program with the hopes of helping veterans get jobs.
9 on your side's Veronica Acosta joining us now in studio with details on that program. Hey, Veronica, good morning.
Good morning, Mark. A national program to help veterans and their spouses get jobs and, of course, stay in those jobs is coming right here to Tucson, all with the help of the Tucson Metro Chamber. So the program is in its pilot stage. The purpose of it is to link military veterans and their spouses with employers from all around southern Arizona who specialize in the aerospace and defense industry. The Tucson Chamber was chosen to be a part of this and said they're glad to be bringing these opportunities to local veterans.
It is creating a skills-based job matching program for those veterans coming out of the military so that they are better placed into positions more suiting the training that they received in the military.
Now, Smith also said the reason this program is partnered with the aerospace and defense industries is because those tend to be the fields a lot of these veterans have skill sets in, and they really want to make sure that they set them up for success. Now, later this morning, the Tucson Chamber will actually be releasing more details on the program, including how they plan on getting the word out to Tucson military families. Mark, Whitney.
All right, Veronica, good info. Thank you. Well, Sabino baseball is officially losing its championship. The Arizona Interscholastic Association upheld a ruling to strip the title from the team after questionable practices by their coaches. A summer-long investigation revealed misuse of booster funds and illegal recruitment practices.
To not only put together a comprehensive corrective action plan with regard to professional development, adjustments in financial practices at both the school level and the district level, and a comprehensive financial audit of our AIA sports programs.
Would you call this case egregious?
Well, what I would call is I'm really concerned that we had coaches that had prior contact that put kids in jeopardy of competing and having a success of their season.
TUSD's president says district-wide comprehensive oversight plans in place to ensure these violations don't happen again.
The Arizona Center for Disability Law has filed a lawsuit against the Arizona State Hospital and the Arizona Department of Health Services for refusing to provide access to the facilities and patients. Now, under a Protection Act, the ACDL is required to monitor the conditions of individuals with mental illness, investigate incidents of abuse and neglect in the facilities they stay in. The lawsuit alleges the Arizona State Hospital refused to access the records. In this case, ACDL alleges that ASH has repeatedly denied their request for records related to the death of an individual in the facility, preventing ACDL from determining whether that death resulted from abuse or neglect. Well, we're shining a light on the mental illness epidemic throughout our community. KGUN 9 will present the Quiet Epidemic, Mental Illness in Southern Arizona this Saturday, September 15th at 4 p.m. Now, in this special, we're tackling depression and those who have survived suicide attempts, families who've lost loved ones, post-traumatic stress disorder, law enforcement working to recognize someone battling a mental illness, and, of course, ways for you to get help.
Well, drivers in Santa Cruz County are seeing new features on local roads, what they think about the additions, and how they're adjusting to this roundabout way of driving.
And Tucson's indoor football expansion team has a new coach, his experience in the NFL and his connection to Tucson. It is 5:34. You're watching KGUN 9 on your side.
Here at KGUN 9, we're dedicated to making sure children in our community have books to read.
Yeah, but the reality is really far too many children here and across the nation grow up without a single book. Now, one local woman shares her passion for reading and says, if you can read, you can accomplish anything. Mary Jo LaBeouf says reading changed her life, especially when she discovered suspense novels.
I think by the time I was my senior year in high school, maybe the beginning of college, I had discovered Mary Higgins Clark, the queen of suspense novels, and I just devoured every single one of her books. And she, I think, really was the person who probably made me think more about, gosh, I really would like to write a book myself.
That inspired her to write. Like you just heard, her first book was self-published after she was rejected by more than 40 agents. In 2017, after writing 9 books, she got her big break. A publishing company said they'd published the 4 books in her thriller series called The Last Cold Case. Now, if you want to find those books, there is a link on our webpage, kgun9.com.
Now, as part of K-Gun 9's If You Give a Child a Book campaign, we have teamed up with Peter Piper Pizza. You can donate unused books at any of Tucson's 9 locations, or you can donate online.
Well, after more than 70 years, a stolen painting has been returned to its original owners.
That's right. The amazing story behind the theft and what the owner says will happen now. April, good morning.
Good morning. Clear skies should make for incredible viewing to spot the space station. We'll tell you when you can see that and where coming up. Back over to you.
All right, April, thanks. But first, Apple has introduced 3 new iPhone models, including the most expensive ever, the iPhone XS Max. It's going to cost just about $1,100.
Well, ABC's Candace Gibson and Stephanie Ramos have the details in today's Tech Bites.
This Saturday, U of A football hosts the Southern Utah Thunderbirds. Both teams are 0-2. It's an 8 o'clock kick at Arizona Stadium and on the Pac-12 network as well. This is the first ever meeting between those 2 schools. Well, meet Marcus Coleman. He's the first head coach of Tucson's indoor football league team. He's actually won in the IFL before, and as we found out at the Playground Bar, he's won once in Tucson too. Here's more from Jason Barr.
Well, we didn't beat them. That's why I hired them. So, and I don't lose many games.
If you can't beat him, hire him. That's Tucson owner and Arizona Rattlers coach Kevin Guy explaining why Marcus Coleman is the first head coach for Tucson's expansion team in the indoor football league.
You know, being number 1 is always special because you always put your stamp on it. Now, it has to be a good stamp, but you know, at least you get the opportunity to come in, start with a clean slate, and kind of get it going in the right direction.
Coleman spent 11 seasons as an NFL defensive back. Most recently, he was the defensive coordinator of the Iowa Barnstormers, who won this past season's United Bowl.
I watched him all last year, watched his demeanor, how he led his players, and he built a very physical defense, and he does a great job recruiting, so I thought he was a great fit for Tucson.
This isn't Marcus Coleman's first time with an expansion team. He was selected by the 2002 NFL's Houston Texans.
I need to make sure where we're practicing is going to be placed, all the equipment, you know, everything like that. So everything that, you know, so all the players have to do is show up and do their job is in place. And we had to go through that, in Houston, and the Texans did a good job of laying that foundation.
Coleman will now try to win in Tucson, something he actually did once before as a member of Texas Tech in a 1995 Copper Bowl victory over Air Force.
All right, folks, so here's the deal. Tucson has a franchise right and a coach too. Next up,
a team name.
Team name, yeah, that's going to be announced probably next week.
Okay.
And then they're going to start playing this spring, probably around March at the Tucson Arena.
And it's not like we don't get to choose the name, right? They're just going to tell us. That's
what
the
we're
next
thinking.
Surprise.
That's what we're thinking.
Okay. Any bets?
No, I can't.
Okay. I kind of put you on the spot there.
Right?
Okay.
I'll think.
Okay. Well, Tad Fujikawa, the youngest player ever to qualify for the U.S. Open at the age of 15, is now the first professional male golfer to come out as gay. On Instagram, he cited World Suicide Prevention Day as the motive behind his timing, writing, quote, "We still see children, teens, and adults being ridiculed for being the way they are." Fujikawa said that other openly gay people in the public eye helped him find personal acceptance, and he hopes his announcement can do the same for others.
Now, K-Gun 9 on your side. First warning weather with meteorologist April Madison.
5:47, sun is rising to clear skies once again this morning. We're at 72 degrees. Very much dry, though, compared to where we've been the past few weeks. We've been gradually seeing those digits going down, the humidity, the dew point values. That tells us we are not in store for any sort of monsoon action anytime soon. Now, that may still return. We got a few weeks before it's all said and done, but for now, we are staying well above average when it comes to our highs, really, and our lows, with no rain in sight. The high, forecast high today is 101. -1, so about 5 degrees above the average and about 4 degrees above the average overnight low. Thankfully, nowhere close to the record. I think we're all okay with that. Year to date, we've done okay. We've majority of this rain, though, that we've seen, more than 6 inches, has happened just in monsoon alone, and we're not done yet. We still have a chance that we could see maybe a little bit more. Even just a light shower could add to those monsoon totals by the end of September. Water vapor shows, though, we're not going to see that anytime soon. We have so much moisture happening to the northwest, but our high pressure is just blocking all of that from sinking down far enough north to make it even into the Four Corners, let alone into any part of Arizona. And we have a little bit of moisture, not much, over central Mexico, but again, our high pressure needs to be to our north and not so much our south to pull on that moisture. So it's not only blocking from the south, but blocking all of this to the north. I mean, look how far down this low stretches and moves up into the Pacific Northwest. We just can't seem to get that to move far enough east into our neck of the woods. The good news with all of this, though, means that we're going to see mostly clear skies for the next several days. And I know we talk about this often, and really there's a chance about 2 or 3 minutes about every other day that you can spot the space station. But I really like to point it out when you've got a good, decent time frame. And so we will see it, possibly see it in our view for 6 minutes on 5:11 a.m. on Monday, September 17th. Looking towards the northwest is when you will see it appear just above the horizon, and then it'll gradually exit to the southeast. But again, a good 6-minute stretch to see that happening very early in the morning next Monday. 101 today, peaking Friday and Saturday right around 102 to 103. We could shave off just a few degrees into early next week, but it's looking more and more like the second half of next week. We'll see a little bit more cooling as our rain chances start to move back in by Wednesday. How's it looking, Big Al?
April 1 wreck in the final stage of clearing. It's about 10 till 6, and this wreck is on Broadway Boulevard, just a little west of Wilmot, near the Park Mall area at Broadway and Chantilly. Again, final clearing stage. Don't see any slowing here. It's early, so not a lot of travel volume. But again, if that was blocking the road there, you would certainly see some yellow or some red. Here are travel times. Cold from Tanque Verde to Valencia, not great. Should be about 9 minutes. It's about 12 minutes or so. And the price of a gallon of gas. 4 locations today at $2.48. Sam's Club is the only membership club. All the Costco's are at $2.50 today. A couple of Arcos, and then the Hansons pay cash at Irvington and Midvale to get the $2.48. That's the latest from our First Warning Traffic Center.
As part of our Operation Safe Roads project, a new feature in Santa Cruz County to tell you about this morning.
Yeah, that's right. Ivan Rodriguez took a drive to Rio Rico to check out the new roundabout and how drivers are adjusting.
One of the busiest intersections in Rio Rico got a makeover. What used to be one stop sign for traffic coming off Interstate 19 is now a roundabout. The main reason, traffic.
Yeah, there's a lot of traffic. It would take forever.
Taylor Lunderville is a junior at Rio Rico High School. Even though she's only been driving for less than a year, she says the roundabout is no problem.
At first, a lot of people didn't really understand how to use the roundabout. But now, it's fine and everything runs more smoothly.
Santa Cruz County Public Works says they had been working on this project for about a year, which also included new turn lanes and sidewalks. They also received input from the school district on how to improve the flow of traffic during rush hour.
I wouldn't say it was extremely stressful. I just know that it impacted how students started their day. In the afternoon, there were also sometimes some delays, but it also impacts our transportation because if they're late getting to one school site, it impacts the routes for the remainder of the morning or the afternoon.
The county says their goal is to make this temporary roundabout permanent. They say so far it's a success. As long as drivers follow the rules of the roundabout and get used to driving through it, the county says they see no problem with leaving it there.
Sometimes people are in front of me and they stop, and then I get really annoyed because, like I said, it's supposed to be really smooth. But other than that, it's fine. It's way faster than it was before.
The first roundabout in the county, a new concept for many drivers and those still learning how to drive. Ivan Rodriguez, KGUN 9, on your side.
Pope Francis will meet with U.S. leaders of the Roman Catholic Church at the Vatican today to talk about the clergy's sex abuse allegations. Now, you may remember in July, the Pope accepted the resignation of Cardinal Theodore McCarrick amid sexual misconduct allegations. Then in August, a grand jury report in Pennsylvania found that more than 300 priests had sexually abused, allegedly, more than 1,000 children. Law enforcement officials in at least 7 states appear to be launching their own investigations.
Scientists in South Africa say they have discovered the world's oldest drawing. Researchers say the latest sketch, which was done in crayon, looks like kind of like a hashtag, we're saying, and proves that Homo sapiens in Africa were using symbols before they migrated to Europe. So ancient humans apparently lived in the Blombos cave where the drawing was found for thousands of years. Scientists say the sketch is about 73,000 years old.
I don't see the hashtag.
I don't either.
Okay.
Get this, a nearly 100-year-old painting stolen by the Nazis has been returned to its rightful owner. Back in 1941, during World War II, Nazis stole a Renoir painting from a bank vault in Paris where the collection was being stored. Well, several years ago, the granddaughter of the original owner found out that the Renoir was being auctioned off by a private collector. Yesterday, the FBI returned that painting.
And I'm very thankful to be able to show my beloved family wherever they are that after all what they've been through, there is a justice.
The French and German governments compensated this family for the estimated value of the stolen collection, but now that the Renoir has been returned, she must pay them back. The Parisian cafe owner says the only way that she can afford that is by selling the painting. Saltier and the FBI wouldn't say how much the painting is worth. That's the only disappointing part here. The recovered Renoir will remain on display at the Museum of Jewish Heritage through Sunday.
Well, one thing, Mark, that you're learning as your first year here, it's pool season well into September.
Still hot out.
Yeah, and it is a great place to cool off.
It is, but our four-legged friends can always enjoy that water. We'll tell you where they can get in some water fun over the weekend. It's 5:55. You're watching KGUN 9 on your side. Well, if you've got a pet, Picture Rock's pool is giving your pooch or your cat, maybe. No, probably not. The chance to cool down. Next Saturday, all dogs of shapes and sizes can take a dip before staff drains and then closes the pool for renovations.
Yeah, the free event is just for dogs, so you won't be able to swim with your pup. You can't go swimming with them, even though I think it would be fun to swim in a pool full of dogs.
Yeah.
I don't know, that sounds weird. Well, it's at the Picture Rocks Public Park on Sanders, south of Rudisill, from 10 to 1. But if you're still looking to add a four-legged friend to your family, the Pima Animal Care Center will be on hand, also with dogs ready to adopt. Go adopt your dog, go swimming in the pool.
Bring it to the pool. Just make sure
there's nothing better than the joy of the dogs that love swimming. Seeing them swim and jump in the pool has got to be one of the cutest things.
Like those labs.
Cats?
Oh, no.
No.
Put it in a harness. Its eyes would be as big as saucers.
Would not want to go swimming. Absolutely not.
Stay with us. More GMT continues at 6.
Good Morning Tucson starts right now.
Happening now on GMT, Hurricane Florence is really closing in on the southeast portion of the country. The storm is now a Category 2 hurricane, and its path shifted once again overnight.
From Maryland to Virginia, the Carolinas, now even farther south to Georgia, millions are bracing for Florence. The massive system could bring a deadly storm surge, a 13-foot wall of water predicted in some areas with up to 40 inches of rain. Now, President Trump says the government is ready for Hurricane Florence, warning those in the storm zone to evacuate to a safe place.
Now, between South Carolina and North Carolina and Virginia, more than 6,000 National Guardsmen are being activated ahead of Hurricane Florence. Many states also sending help. One group very familiar with disaster relief started lending aid in the wake of Hurricane Katrina. The Cajun Navy out of Louisiana will once again grab its gear and assist the government. With help from donors in the state, the organization received 135 boats, supplies, and monetary donations to take with them.
One man in Tucson is also hoping to lend a hand. Starting this morning at 9 o'clock, Clifford O'Brien will be collecting supplies for victims of Florence at the Tucson Police Station on Alvernon. Non-perishable food and new toiletries are welcomed. O'Brien says he has family that lives on the coast and is leaving Friday to take what's collected. For more info on our coverage and Hurricane Florence and how Arizona is reaching out to help victims, go to our website, kgun9.com. Also follow us on social media. This is a good time to check in with April Madison for a quick look at our forecast. April, good morning.
Good morning. Dry and warm. That's where we're going to stay in the afternoon. But the overnight lows you can certainly look forward to. We're at 72 in Tucson right now. Low to mid 70s across Pima County, 58 in Wilcox, and 60s across much of Cochise and Santa Cruz County. We are going to warm up, though. We'll get to right around to 80 by that 8 o'clock hour, 97 by noon, and topping out once again at 101 with lots of sunshine. How are the roads looking, Big Al?
Pretty good, April. They're finishing up Hacienda del Sol. Southbound lanes of Hacienda del Sol, or lane actually, because it's a 2-lane road, finished up probably by the end of the day today between the area of Sunrise and River Road. So northbound is done. Southbound will be finished today. You can use, if you'd like, Campbell as an alternate route, but if you're northbound anyway, Hacienda del Sol is just fine for a good ride up the foothills. That's the latest from our First Warning Traffic Center.
Thank you, Big Al. The Tucson Metro Chamber will be helping veterans and their families, all while trying to bolster an industry here in southern Arizona.
And on your side's Veronica Acosta joining us now in studio with more on the program that the Tucson Chamber will be announcing today. Hey, Veronica, good morning.
Good morning, Mark. Well, the Tucson Metro Chamber is launching that new program, which they hope not only helps veterans and their spouses, but also helps strengthen the aerospace and defense industry here locally. Now, this is a national pilot program. The Tucson Metro Chamber was chosen to take it on and start it up. Those heading the program hope that it will keep veterans in the job force by putting the skills they learned in the military to use while supporting them as military personnel.
Veterans are known as being underemployed, so this will identify new opportunities that they may not otherwise have had.
The Metro Chamber will be announcing more details on the pilot program during a media conference later this morning. The conference will include speakers from AGM Container Controls and Sun Corridor, as well as military vets themselves. Mark, Whitney.
Veronica, thank you. Crime alert for you now at 3 minutes past the hour. 3 men are in jail this morning after one of the suspects rammed a Pinal County Sheriff's deputy's patrol car. Officials say 21-year-old Charles Butler was pulled over yesterday, but then drove towards the deputy and hit his cruiser. The deputy was hurt, but is expected to be okay. Officers say Butler took off, then later allegedly stole a car and rifle before he was arrested at a bus stop. 26-year-old Tadeo Bravo Cortez and 20-year-old Erica Norris were also arrested after the stolen rifle was found inside of a car they were driving. No word yet on charges.
The man accused of killing his 19-year-old ex-girlfriend near Phoenix is now out on a $1 million bond. Police say 23-year-old John Clark is facing first-degree murder and other charges after trying to hide her death. He allegedly used her cell phone to make it look like she was still alive. Bergman's body was found earlier this month, but a cause of death has not been determined. A preliminary hearing is scheduled for next Friday. The Arizona lawmaker who was caught on camera talking about driving more than 120 miles per hour may be in trouble again. Now, according to a Lake Havasu News report, an arrest warrant was issued last week after Representative Paul Mosley failed to appear in court. The summons was issued last month and was sent by certified mail. It's really not clear what the arrest warrant involved. Continuing coverage this morning, Sabino High's baseball team will not get its championship trophy back.
The AIA board voted unanimously during a hearing in Phoenix to uphold its ruling to strip the 2018 title and forfeit all games. Superintendent Gabriel Trujillo and Sabino's principal appeared before the board to plead their case that players should not be penalized for the coach's actions, illegal recruiting, and misuse of funds. KGUN 9 revealed head coach Mark Chandler had a history of violations. Trujillo described sweeping changes that will affect all coaches, players, and booster clubs in TUSD. The board did not budge on 2 of the sanctions, but did downgrade the 1-year playoff ban to a warning. Now, on your side's investigative reporter Valerie Cavazos is continuing to investigate the misuse of funds and claims of retaliation.
Senator Jeff Flake is calling out President Trump for, quote, relentless slandering the politician he is condemning this morning.
And later, a mass shooting in California left 6 dead, including the shooter, what officials know in their early stages of the investigation. It's 6:05. You're watching KGUN 9 on your side.
Police in California are investigating a mass shooting that left several people dead, including the gunman. Authorities in Bakersfield say the incident started after a man and his wife arrived at a trucking business. That's when the suspect shot and killed. Police say he did this. Shot and killed a man at the business before killing his wife.
We have 6 people dead, 5 victims and 1 suspect. The reason for this, we're right at the beginning of the stages of this investigation. Obviously, there's some type of situation that caused the husband to be extremely upset. I'm certainly speculating right now at this point, but I'm pretty comfortable there'll be a connection between all of these players.
The county sheriff says someone else came to the business and then was chased by the gunman before being killed. The suspect then left the area, confronted 2 more people who he shot before hijacking a car with a woman and a child inside. Both were able to escape. The suspect was pulled over, but authorities say he turned the gun on himself and was later pronounced dead.
You know, the New Hampshire Supreme Court will begin the appeal hearing for a former St. Paul's school student convicted in 2015 of statutory rape. Owen Laubrie pursued a 15-year-old girl as part of a competition known as the Senior Salute, basically where seniors try to have sex with as many younger female students as possible. Well, those charges kicked off a criminal investigation into sexual misconduct at the prep school. The state attorney general is expected to announce those findings later today. Meantime, a video of disgraced movie mogul Harvey Weinstein has surfaced, showing him hitting on a woman who later accused him of rape. Sky News aired the video showing Weinstein making advances on Melissa Thompson in his office. This was in 2011. Weinstein's lawyer says the video just shows, quote, casual, if not awkward, flirting from both parties. Weinstein denies any of that wrongdoing. Former First Lady Michelle Obama will make speaking appearances this fall in 10 major cities, what she's promoting as she hits the road.
And we're going to show you this robot and how it's becoming the first in Tucson to assist in knee surgeries. April?
And we have been seeing those triple digits, but when will the 90s return? I'll have the answer coming up at 6:10. You're watching KGUN 9 on your side.
This morning, Arizona Senator Jeff Flake is condemning President Trump's attacks on Attorney General Jeff Sessions.
Yeah, that's right. In tweets from earlier this month, the president called Sessions out by name for bringing criminal charges against 2 Republican congressmen. Flake says the, quote, relentless slandering is wrong.
It has been said that the president deserves to have an attorney general of his choice, a top lawyer with whom he is compatible. This is true. The president's appointment powers are clear, and all of the his appointments serve at the pleasure of the president. But what no president deserves is a top lawyer who is simply there to do his bidding.
Flake urged Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell to hold a vote on legislations to protect the Mueller investigation and wants other lawmakers to speak out.
It's primary day in New York State with most eyes on the Democratic bid for governor. Incumbent Governor Andrew Cuomo is trying to fend off a challenge from actress and activist Cynthia Nixon. You probably know her from her role on HBO's Sex and the City. Nixon has attacked the governor for failing to follow through on pledges